Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 44 of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a peace treaty for a big war down here, and some other stuff happened that I forgot. I don't know, it's been a month since I last recorded a video, so yeah, episode 43 was recorded, and then I never uploaded it, so yeah. Um, I don't remember what else happened, so just enjoy today's video, which will be starting off out here in Alaska, as we see this mess of a border is not going to be staying. We see the Great Lakes Empire wants access to the Pacific Ocean, and to do that, well, they don't really have good access. They kind of currently have to sail all the way around. There isn't, or actually, there probably is a Panama Canal, but they don't have access. They wouldn't have access to it because it'd be like right in this region. These guys aren't under their influence, and ain't no way these guys are helping out. So, um, yeah. So we see them wanting access to the Pacific, so they're gonna do that through their ally. So we see Canada will begin invading into the um, Orange Alaskan country. If I'm being honest, California is actually the weaker of the countries. But um, I don't know. I guess they say they don't want to invade California because one, less coastal access, two, less resources, and three, they don't want to put up a war right on the border of the Green Team because that could definitely spark some stuff that we don't. But with direct funding from the Great Lakes Empire, this war doesn't take too long at all. And you know what they're just saying about they don't want a war on the border of this green country? Well, the Pink Team starts invading California too. But they're not alone in this, as we also see America joins this war, and suddenly it's like, okay, so um, yeah, you're putting war on our borders. We're condemning this action. It You shouldn't have done this. And they start calling for their alliance to attack these guys, even though no war was declared on them. There's not even any fighting in these guys until these guys start also sending troops up into California. And their goal is just to take only the Pacific coast, which becomes pretty simple for them as they don't have to go through a mountain range. And now that they've taken the Pacific coast of California, but these guys don't really see as much of a point fighting here, but they still do. And we see a really big action happening. None of the countries do this, but we see a volcano in this region erupt, probably like Mount St. Helens or something. But it erupts and it unleashes a giant ash cloud over this whole area here. And none of the troops can continue fighting in the conditions. They don't have the right gear to kind of prevent against a it's hot ash. It's like it. there's not much you can do, so we kind of see um we see California kind of getting lucky, except they can't really fight back. The only area where there's not as much ash, the only area where there's not as much ash is kind of in the east and in the or in the west and in the south. But at this point, California is just going to surrender over anyway, and we see the war just kind of continues up here. But the ash coverage is kind of just this area here, so we don't really see much invasion in the southern part. Plus, the capital of the Alaskan countries up here anyway. So you see just a giant spearhead being formed, and eventually they finally connect up with the coast, capturing a major city. Somehow they capture islands despite not having a navy in the region, but they're able to capture the capital, and now with the country also separated in two, they focus on the southern part more, not being really able to get to some of the islands, but it doesn't really matter as Alaska, if it's just the islands left, Alaska's not going to be able to do much. They kind of avoid the areas covered in ash, but we see them eventually, they're able to take over this whole coast here, even some of the islands. They steal some ships and somehow take over this island, and from there they end up taking these islands. However, Vancouver Island in this southern area here is able to hold out. In the north, we don't really see much happening until suddenly it's winter time, and forces are Canadian forces are still able to kind of push, but Alaska is kind of built different, like Russia is when it's winter. So Alaska's better able to hold out. However, this major city here's captured. Suddenly, it's down to three major cities, which, if you ask me, it's not really a whole lot. There's a country somewhere here that's probably got one major city though. So these guys here have two. Oh well, I'm getting distracted. But Alaska's no longer really being able to function. Eventually, we see the pink Canadians are able to come up here, taking this peninsula and some of the surrounding area, splitting Alaska now into three parts. And once they start going towards this major city over here, it's kind of done for. Also, this major city's really the only is like the biggest in that's left in Alaska. Their biggest is their capital, followed by this city right here. Um, a lot of people moved out of this city before, like they kind of figured out the volcano was gonna erupt soon, so they kind of just moved out of the way. Um, so like there wasn't, it was still a pretty high death toll. It was pretty much Pompeii, but they actually had a warning, and um, some people didn't trust it, but those people did die, so good for the not good for them, actually. But we see Alaska now surrenders, and we'll take a look at what this peace treaty will look like. Alright, so here we're going to take a look at the peace treaty for this war. We start off by seeing a new blue country forming up here. They also are going to be getting this island out of Alaska. And then we see all of this territory that remains down here is going to become part of California, who is now more of a Oregon country. So good for them. Up here, Alaska actually is going to retain onto most of their land. So I recently noticed Korea does not own that anymore. Um, so Canada now gets the naval access that the Great Lakes Empire wanted. And then down here we see this war. Also gets to both of the wars were kinda sorta the same thing. Like they happened at the same time, pretty much the same causes. Let's talk about this province right here. America was initially gonna get this province here, but they decided they're gonna take that instead from mainland Canada, by the way. And also that goes to 2 pixels of California left down there. So now the borders here got even worse. And yeah. So let's go up to the alliances layer. As there seems to have been a oh. So, they just invaded their own ally. I forgot Alaska was their ally. I had that all planned out, and so Alaska's no longer their ally. Um, yeah. But we see these countries are joining a different alliance now, as somebody else funded them, despite Alaska being in the Great Lakes Empire's alliance. You know what actually had happened was the Alaskans weren't allowing them to get access to the Pacific Ocean. So yeah. So Great Lakes Empire had Canada invade them so they could just get it anyway. So now all of the other members in the Trapezoid Alliance are like, okay, so we're not gonna mess with that. Now let's come down here because these guys all had stuff going on. So we see these countries all joining up with the country that funded them, except for one country which never got a funder, and one country had a funder and that funder failed. 2 countries never got funder or fundings. I think these guys actually did. I forgot. I forgot which of these was funded by who. These guys were the Great Lakes Empire, and I think these guys were. Yeah, that makes sense. Because Catalonia controlled these guys. So. Alright, so, yeah. But we see Korea still wanting to get some influence down here. So what did they do? They'll just add Madagascar to their alliance anyway. They don't really care. So, yeah, that's now like that. So we see the alliances have kind of gotten all over the world. But we still see some more changes going on out here to alliances. As we actually see a member leaving an alliance, they leave the Diamond Alliance, and that country is Ireland. Ireland's not really, not feeling it. Let's say that. They're feeling it with more a different alliance that's kinda got some influence over this region. Doesn't really though. Um, that country's Ethiopia. They're joining Ethiopia's side in the war. They somehow see like they somehow think Ethiopia is gonna win this. Um, but yeah, and you know what comes out of this? You see Denmark getting jumped. So we see a very quick invasion of Denmark takes place. Really, they just want to get a hold of this claim by Denmark. Um, so they just have everyone invade Denmark, and it's pretty simple what happens. Denmark is obviously going to get absolutely folded. You see, pretty much the northern half is taken by um, the or, yeah, taken by the Norwegian country, and this lower half gets taken by this pink country. And we'll do a quick peace treaty to sort it out, even though the only peace treaty is just going to happen right in here and a bit up here. Alright, so here we see what the peace treaty looks like. Very simple. Bam. Um, we see the Norwegian, or actually the capital's in Sweden. So we see the Swedish country will take all of this here and these islands, and then the Danish are kind of left with uh, a little bit of land. They still don't join any alliance, but they've lost so much, but they do happen to do one thing. They kind of start setting up navy right in here. And what ends up happening is they start taxing these people coming out. Sweden just fought a war with them, and they can't go back to war. Same with Germany, and yeah, so they're not really allowed to go to war. But we see something else happens. So ships are taxed going in and out. So somebody is kind of mad that they can't really get to Finland or Kaliningrad super easily. So they are going to help their allies out. So we see Switzerland almost demands them to union with them. Um, they don't make a whole big deal out of it, but Kaliningrad, North France, and West France say no to this. The Iberian countries weren't even asked, and yeah. So you see Switzerland suddenly grows a lot in power, and we're not gonna do power rankings this episode. We'll do some next episode, and then we'll probably do some after World War III too. But Switzerland just got a lot bigger. And yeah, I gotta also increase the capitals. But somebody isn't too happy about this. Actually, a lot of somebodies. But now that Switzerland has done this, they declare war on Denmark. Denmark surrenders in, what do you think, 6 hours? Wrong. 6 minutes. Um, so, yeah, pretty much right after news of war gets over to them, they just surrender because they're in no place to fight. Um, so we actually just lost the founder of the 3-point star economic alliance. Which, yeah, that's got some changing. We see some, so the members in both the 3-Point Star Alliance and the 6-Point Star Alliance that are in the Cross Alliance will all leave both alliances. It takes the last of them to leave is going to be the Greek Union, but we see the Great Empire just kind of say, trust me, bro." Um, and we see a new alliance is formed, the 4-Point Star Economic Alliance, and it's obviously going to be between Cross Alliance members. So, see, these the first three countries to join are actually the Great Empire because they found it, uh, the Adriatic Union, Italy is next. Then we see this blue Corsica Sardinia country also joins. They had kind of close ties with Italy because their people are Italian. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense for them. Um, then we see a lot of other cross alliance countries joining. The 5-Point Star Alliance countries do not leave the 5-Point Star Alliance, but they also do join up. Both of them join up with the 4-Point Star Economic Alliance. This country down here joins, and it's almost all the Cross Alliance members join it. Actually, there isn't a Cross Alliance member who doesn't join it. However, there are members that are not in the Cross Alliance that do join it. So, yep. And then also Mexico will obviously join it. I've already got a 4-Point Star. Great. Alright, we're doing something different. We're gonna do a cross. Because I'm dumb. Alright. Or you know what, we'll do the gear. We'll do a gear. The Gear Economic Alliance. Yeah, sounds great. Mm, there we go. Almost every member other than the Mediterranean. Alright, but we'll also see one more event dealing with alliances, and then we'll get on to the final event of the episode, which is nukes. And a big thing with nukes, too. Alright, so that's done. But we see something kind of odd happen in the alliance, and specifically the Diamond Alliance. We see the Dark Sign team is kicked out of the alliance. As it turns out, there's been some long beef going on between the red team and the Dark Cyan team. The red team or Swiss do not like fascists, and well, ideologies. These guys are fascists. Also, they kind of just united with a communist country, but that's beside the point. I'm also gonna just delete these while I'm on Slayer. These guys. So the Dark Sign team got kicked out of their alliance. What are they gonna do now? They obviously are gonna want to get revenge on certain somebody, even though they already got revenge. But they more so really want to get revenge on the Swiss, or just the Diamond Alliance as a whole, because like everyone there agreed to get rid of the Dark Sign team. And there happens to be another alliance that has quite a few members, that's right near here. However, they don't want to work with Catalonia. They fought they've fought against Ethiopian troops, so Ethiopia also doesn't really like them, also because they're a democracy. Coming over to Korea, Korea is kind of on them, and so is the Great Lakes Empire. That leaves one alliance left in the world, the Circles. And if you know what the Circles are, they're definitely not letting the Dark Science team let in. These guys are anti-colonists. These guys want to get their colonies back. Not gonna collide well. So what do? Well, they'll put some things aside and they will join up with the Cross Alliance. This isn't really respected by the civilian population though, and right before they're officially in, they'll switch to the Square Alliance, which is, I guess, a bit more approved of by the people. But we see actually one last final event happening over here. You see England joining the trapezoids. So now each country has a member on almost every continent except for Oceania and South America, which is good-ish, maybe. But well, the Cold War is still rising. Um, these countries are all well, they're starting to put troops on borders. There's more troops on this giant border with the Diamond Alliance and the Great Empire, more than there ever has been before. Um, some of these guys may or may not want revenge, but we also see internal turmoil in some countries. The biggest being in the Great Lakes Empire after kind of what they just did over here. They invaded their own ally, and also like their dictatorship. They have the weakest. They have strong control over their country, but it's not really supported. And yeah. But let's get to the nukes, and then that'll do it for the episode. So, we see the nukes are gonna be very changed. So just this and great. All right, let me fix this real quick. All right. Oh, and also before we go, the Great Empire is gonna sink into the ocean. Okay. I I don't know. I, I'm done. All right. All right. Let's do this now. Starting off with the Great Lakes Empire, they have hit the 50 nuke mark and they get a few more. If I could have the right color. And I got rid of it all. Okay, so I'm just gonna write the nukes in black, and then to the, I'll switch it to the actual color, after this. So, 53 nukes for them. We see America hits 17. I don't remember how much they actually had. Over here, these guys are at 3 now. Ethiopia has also hit the 50 mark, and they decide to upgrade it by another 10, and they have 63. But the Great Empire is obviously going to outdo them even further, having 74 nukes. Switzerland, they're kind of lacking a bit. They have 52. But Korea, on the other hand, they've been developing a whole lot. They have 72 nukes. Still not as good as the Great Empire, but definitely up there. China has got a few less than Korea, having um, or, but somehow they also still have they're still on par with like other great powers in the world. They have 47 current nukes, and I honestly don't remember what other countries had nukes. I think Russia did. So now they're at 40. No, they're at like 21, we'll say. And don't mind me, just gonna take a look at the nukes because I forgot which countries did and didn't have nukes. Oh yeah, some countries did a whole lot of developing. Sumatra had nukes, and okay, so Sumatra's current nuke count is going to be also similar-ish to China. Well, not China. They're going to be closer to Russia. They have 23 now. They definitely did some upgrading in their arsenal. And we now see India also joining the nuclear program, developing two nukes just to start. And for the last country developing nukes that I never gave a capital to, this kind of country has developed their first. Now, for other nukes that are being sent out across the world, the Great Empire has a total of, well, not 12. They have 16 nukes spread out, which is 6 more than before. We see 4 of them being sent to the uh, the Adriatic Union. 4 of them have been sent to Catalonia. 4 of them are stationed out in Mexico. And then we see 2 of them being put here in Libya. And the final 2 of them go down to this country here. Switzerland, where do you have your nukes? They have only sent 4 of their nukes out. And all 4 of them happen to be in the same country, which is just one up above them. Korea, how many do you have stationed out? Korea has they kind of share their nukes a bit too much, but they have 32 of their 72 nukes stationed in another country. We see These guys have their own nukes. They did. Okay. So, even though they already have their own nukes, you see this South Chinese country is going to be getting quite a few of, Korea's nukes. So I'm just going to have them put at 12. Um, I don't know how to do that. So, Vietnam, they have a total of 6 of Korea's nukes. Red Australia has quite a few nukes as well. Yeah, well, not 5, they have 11, which is actually, it's not actually the same as South China. South China has a few more, actually. We haven't yet seen someone send nukes over here until now, as we see or Korea gives Madagascar a few of their nukes, which is actually also going to be the last of their nukes. No, it's not. 3 nukes there, and the final 3 go over to this country, Central America. Alright, alright. So now we're down to our last 2 countries handing out some nukes, which is Ethiopia. Out of their 63, they're kind of low in, well, not as low as Switzerland, but they are only sending 11 nukes out, which is still quite a bit more than what they had sent out. But we see 3 of them are being stored in the Gold Mozambique country. We see 4 getting sent over here. And then, actually, not the final, 2 are in the Blue Australian country, and Alaska is given 2. So we see nukes are really spread out across the world as well. And if you want to know the Great Lakes Empire, oh, they're a hoarder. They don't send any of their nukes out to any country in the world. And some people kind of hate them for that. A lot of people don't because I mean, now they can more easily nuke their nukes and destroy them. But they don't let the Great Lakes know that. And also, you know what, just because I had access to this, I'm just gonna, there. Alright, now nukes are done. And that will also do it for today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.